See, in our previous class, we were discussing that modern education is the education which is training people to become donkey. Just like a donkey, he is working so hard, he works so hard, and he has no idea about why am I working so hard. But then also he's just working, he's not understanding that why he really have to work so hard. He basically identify himself with his body. So same modern education is training people to become donkeys. One very amazing example Srila Prabhupada gives, that you will see, you might have seen people take hens or cocks in in a what to say that in a vehicle. They take all the hens or cocks with them to the slaughterhouses. Is it not? You might have seen such vehicles in which there are so many racks and hens and cocks are there. They are placed in that vehicle and they just take them to the slaughterhouses. And why? Why slaughterhouses? Because they will kill those hens and cocks. Same way, today, schools and colleges are also slaughtered houses. How? You will see the same like in today, like today, what is happening? Parents, uh, they are just they are allowing their children or their kids. They just like whatever teacher or something, they just take those children and kids in a bus, just like that person takes hens or cocks in a vehicle. Same way, children and kids are being taken uh, through that bus or whatever van to the school or colleges, which are same as slaughterhouses. How slaughterhouses? Because you will see that we have got this human form of life, but then also, if any person is not like, if we are not aware of the purpose of this human form of life, then we are actually playing with our lives, which is very dangerous. Instead of serving Krishna, we are people are doing those things which is not at all in connection to Krishna, and which will be the result of their next birth, and that to be like there is no idea which species. Srila Prabhupada says that people are doing such deeds that in next morning only, they can be in the body of a pig or a dog. And they have no idea about this. And this is very, very dangerous. Have you ever seen, like, you have seen those animals, they just only eat with their mouth. They can't use their hands or whatever feet. They can't use it. They just consume food with their mouth. That's it. How difficult is that? Have you ever assumed yourself putting in that situation? People do some austerities, something like this in Kartik Mass. What they do is they place their food on the floor, and they just bind their hands at the back and they consume food with their mouth. It is very difficult. Okay, this is austerity, but this austerity one has to go with to his whole life if he will get a life of an animal or a bird or any other species. Only we human beings have this facility that we can use our hands. We can use these hands in making nice food for Krishna. We can do nice dressing for Krishna. We can take nice grocery or flowers for Krishna, garlands for Krishna. We can use our hands. But animals, they don't have such facilities. So one should think about this that why we have given such facilities. We are actually blessed to have all such facilities and we can actually serve Krishna nicely. So, are you understanding how schools and colleges are slaughtered houses? If the parents of those children they are not telling them that, oh my son, oh my daughter, you got this human form of life so that you may serve Krishna, and they are just sending them to schools so that they may become donkeys. So they are actually playing with their children's life. This is also one thing that even parents are not aware of this thing. But isn't it very dangerous? And Krishna has really saved us from this. So, if man thinks the same in the same way, how is he different from any other animal? Srimad Bhagavatam states, now here comes the shloka. This shloka is very beautiful and this is quoted by Krishna himself in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th chapter. Sorry, 10th canto. यस्य यस्यात्मबुद्धि कुणपे त्रिधातुके स्वधिकलत्रादिषु भौम इज्जधि यतीर्थबुद्धि सलिलेन कर्हिचित् जनेष्वभिज्ञेषु स एव गोखरः. Gokara means Gokar is donkey only. So Krishna himself is telling in this shloka. Let's try to understand this word to word. Yes, okay, let me just recite this two more times. यस्यात्म बुद्धि गुण पे त्रिधातुके स्वधिकलत्रादिषु भौम इज्जधि यतीत बुद्धि सलिलेन कर्हिचित् जनेषु भिज्ञेषु स एव गोखरः यस्यात्मबुद्धि कुणपे त्रिधातुके स्वधिकलत्रादिषु भौम इज्जधि यतीर्थबुद्धि सलिलेन कर्हिचित् जनेष्वभिज्ञेषु स एव गोखरः. Let's see. यस्मात् बुद्धि कुणपे त्रिधातुके. Uh, any person, if his intelligence, if his intelligence is kunpe means kind of bound with with the uh, you know with the mentality that he's this body. Swadi kalati deshu bhom इज्जधि यतीर्थ बुद्धि सलिलेन गर्हिचित नेश janeshu biggeshu sa ev gokhara. So what Krishna is trying to tell here that any person is he has no respect for the devotees of Lord Krishna, and he is so much into serving his wife, his children, or Tirth Buddhi means he is his he's so much into visiting at the places of pilgrimage that if I will go to pilgrimages then I will take bath in holy rivers, and I will be benefited from them for by performing such piety. But he has no respect for the devotees of Krishna, and of course, he's not understanding the purpose of his life. So, Janeshu Biggeshu Saiv Gokara. So, such people are same as cow. Not same as cow. He is cow himself, cow or donkey. Just like you will see animal, they have no capacity to think. They can't think anything. They only know how to eat, how to sleep, how to mate, and how to defend. That's it. They can't think beyond these four topics. So same way, if any person he's not able to think beyond these four topics, then he is donkey. This is what Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. For one who accepts the body which is made of three elements as his self, or who has an affinity for intimate bodily relationships with his wife and children, who considers his land worshipable, and who accepts the water of holy places of pilgrimage, but does not take advantage of knowledge of the saintly persons there. So even after visiting to the pilgrimages, he is not interested in hearing the knowledge from the saintly person, basically the devotees of Krishna. It is to be considered to be an illusion and no better than an ass or a cow. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.84.13. So I hope this shloka is clear. According to Ayurveda, the material body is composed of three elements: Kap, Pith, Vat, Vata. We might have heard this. Mucus, bile, and air. Kaph is mucus, Pith is bile, and Vataha is Vat. Vataha is air, Vayu. Within the body, there is complex machinery which transforms food into liquid. Now, this is very, very amazing. Have you ever thought about this thing? That if we are consuming some food, then after entering into our bodies, it automatically transforms into liquid, that food. If you put the same food on your kitchen counter, then it will rot. It will simply rot after a few days or weeks. But how amazing, how magical is this that whatever we are consuming, it transforms into liquid. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells this that even that food which we are consuming, that Krishna is digesting that food. So now, when we know this thing, we should not give bad foodstuffs to Krishna to digest. Are you understanding what are bad foodstuffs? Uh, there is no question of meat or eggs or onion, garlic, even no intoxication. There is no question of these things. But then also, we consume so much unhealthy food these days: white flour, white rice, or whatever things, which are very heavy to digest. They are not, basically, they are not good for our health. Those things are not good for our health. Even though we are offering it to Krishna, then we are consuming it, but then also we should avoid to have all those things. So, yes, Krishna is digesting our food. There are so many complicated bodily processes going on, but what do we know of them? The answer is no. We have no idea about how our whatever we are consuming, how is it getting digested. We say this is my body, but what do we know about this body? Some people even claim I am God, but they do not even know what is going on within their own bodies. Isn't this true? For knowing like what trouble is going in my body, we have to visit a doctor. That, oh doctor, please tell me what is happening in my body. I'm suffering with this thing or that thing. We are not even aware of this body, that what is happening inside it. We have to visit to another person for that. Then how can any person even claim that he is a god? He is not even aware of his own body. The body is a bag of stool, urine, blood, and bones. Yes. So, see, when we are studying this thing, so are you getting this? That there is nothing beautiful in this material body. If we are seeing any lady or any man who is very smart, who looks very smart, or if she looks very beautiful, then that is actually illusion of our eyes. Because this material body is just a bag of stool, urine, blood, and bones. If suppose this skin, if suppose if we take off this skin of our bodies, then we will not be even like, we will not like to see our own bodies. And what to say of these things? We don't want to see these things, right? Stool, urine, blood, and bones. So this is actually illusion of our eyes. If we are, if we are seeing any person and that person seems beautiful to us. Beautiful means physically, materially. If one believes that intelligence comes out of stool, urine, blood, and bones, he is a fool. Can we create intelligence by mixing stool, urine, bones, and blood? Nonetheless, people still think I am this body. Therefore, the scriptures say that whoever accepts this body as the self and accepts the bodily relations of wife, children, and family as his own is a loser. Now, very important point one should understand that Srila Prabhupada is not telling here that one should not accept wife or children or family. But if he is thinking that these people belongs to me, see, it's mentioned here that if he accepts the bodily relations of wife, children, and family as his own, that oh, this is my kid, these are my children, this is my wife, this is my family, then he's actually illusioned. One should understand this thing that here our relationship are only limited to this body. Till we are here in this world, till this material body is there, till that time only we have relationship with those people. Basically, those are bodily relations. But we are not this body. We are souls. And our real relationship is with Supreme Soul, that is Krishna, and which is from eternal time and it will be for eternal time. There is one shloka, Nate Vaham, something like this, I don't remember it. But in this, Lord Krishna tells that there was no time when you were not there, there was no time when I was not there, there will be no time when you will be not there, and there will be no time. when I will be not there. So we are there from always and we will be there for always. We means soul. So our real relationship is with Supreme Soul, that is Krishna. But then also, as people, they identify themselves with this body. That's why they they're so much engrossed with these bodily relationships. That oh, this is my wife, this is that, this is that, which is again, which will be a reason for next birth. Instead, what one should do, like, okay, if he's accepting a wife, children, family, then one should see them as the servant of Krishna. That my wife is also the servant of Krishna. And we should put our family members also in service to Krishna. It's just that easy. But one should not see if one is identifying, he's thinking that these people belong to me, these people are my property. Then there will be a sense of exploitation. There will be a sense of enjoyment, which is a sense of disrespect. This is very amazing point. So one should not have uh, this mentality of enjoying. This definitely comes if any person, if he's identifying, if he's thinking that these people are my property, then definitely uh, there is tendency of enjoying, which is very bad. The word Kalatra means wife and Adi means beginning. Because a man feels alone, he accepts a wife. And immediately there are children and then grandchildren. See, when we are discussing about these topics, these are actually practical topics. When I visited Dham, so I visited with a family. Uh, there, there was one Prabhuji, one Mataji, and they have one kid also, baby girl. So she was 8 to 9 years old. So they all were devoted to Krishna. And I was observing this thing that the vibes of that family was something different. It is not similar to the vibes of the ordinary family material who are engrossed in materialistic matters. They all were, they all are devoted to Krishna, and they were like naturally they have this feeling that this is servant of Krishna. My wife is servant of Krishna, my husband is servant of Krishna, our daughter is servant of Krishna. So it was natural for them. So these things are practical. One should not think that oh, scriptures are so heavy, they just they're just telling things for the sake of telling, but these things are not actually practical. No, it's not like that. These things are practical. And this happens with consistent practice. What practice? Hearing and chanting. It's just that easy. So yes, because the man feels alone, he accepts a wife and immediately there are children and then grandchildren. In this way, there is expansion. Stri means that which expands. So Kalatradeshu means expansions of the self, beginning from the wife. So are you seeing this? Very practical example. You will see when any person he is in his young age. So from the very beginning, let's just start from the childhood. In his childhood, his uh, subject of love is his mother. He's so much attached with his mother, and he always stays with his mother. Then later, as he grows up, he makes some friends. Uh, he start to go to school, and he makes some friends. So now the subject of his love expands to his friends. Now he loves spending more time with his friends. You might have seen, even you might have done, you might play cricket with your friends. So now the subject of love expands by time. Then later he will grow up more. Then his love of subject will expand more. And that is actually not love. Again, there is no love in this material world. You know what is love here. It is just sense gratification. But still, I'm saying love here. So yes, later he will get married. He will have a wife. So again, his love will expand to his wife. Then later, children. So again, his love will expand to his children. So this way, there is expansion of the self. This is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. Expansions of the self. The word Bhoma me refers to the land of one's birth. Yes. Now, after you will see, people are so much attached with their land also. Land means their countries. That, oh, I am American, I am Indian, I love my India. People just surrender their life in these things. But that is also for the sake of sense gratification. So that we may get some fame or whatever things. So yes, Bhoma means land of one's birth, which the ignorant considered worshipable. I worship my country. What is that? Uh, Bharat Mata. I worship my Bharat Mata. And you won't believe this. When I was following raw diet, so those people who were helping me, basically they were kind of guiding me. So I interacted with that person. Now you are very much aware of this thing that to whomsoever I interact, I just try to connect them with Krishna. So I was trying to connect him also with Krishna. So he was saying, I worship nature. I have surrendered my life to the mother nature. I worship nature. They will not worship God, they will not worship Krishna, but they will worship land, their countries, or whatever nature. They will worship their parents, they will worship their family, but they will not worship God. So the main center point is missing, so they cannot be satisfied. One should respect their parents, their family, or whatever relatives. They should have respect, they should have respect and dignity in their hearts, but one should not neglect God. This is not good. Because God, Krishna, is the reason of every reason, of all the reasons. But if we are neglecting Krishna, if we are neglecting God and we are engrossed in so much of these things which is there, which exist, um, which exist still, bodily conceptions. Is it not? We are not feeding our soul when we are doing all these things. We are just feeding our body. Yesterday when Mataji texted me when I was about to go to bed, so she was saying that I chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but I experience more transformations in me when I practice breathing exercises. But because I have heard about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so even when I practice those breathing exercises, so my mind goes, like my mind, it tells me that you should chant Hare Krishna. Because I have heard the glories of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But then also, when I chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I don't feel like chanting. And when I do breathing exercises, so it really helps me. So I was telling this thing to her that when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are actually feeding our souls. These breathing exercises, that yoga, this is limited to body level. That's it, bodily level. But it is not actually feeding our soul. And we are not this body, we are soul, we are souls. So one should understand this thing that if we are chanting, and then also if we don't feel like chant, that is because of our contamination. Our, uh, you know, when the moment when we say Krishna, as we are fragmental part of Krishna, so the moment we say Krishna, our heart should fill with so much of ecstasy. We should become mad the moment we hear Krishna. But it's not happening like that now. So that is because of our contamination. It is not the fault of the holy names of Krishna. It is our fault. It is fault of our contamination of the heart. And there is only one way for that. There is only one way to get rid of this contamination, that is chanting Hare Krishna. There is no other solution for that. So, yes, people are willing to give up their lives for the land where they were born, but they do not know that land, body, wife, children, country, and society really have nothing to do with them. Why? Because they are limited to bodily relations. We are spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi. This is realization of knowledge. And when we come to this point of knowledge, we become happy. So you might have observed this thing that even if you are not able to understand class very, very nicely, or even if you are not able to hear Mahamantra very, very nicely, then also you experience a sense of peace in your heart. Because we are feeding our soul. The moment we are serving Krishna, we are doing something for Krishna, that time we are actually feeding our souls. And that way we become happy, we experience satisfaction. See, here comes the shloka. Brahmabhutah prasannatma na shochiti na कांक्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न कांक्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्. So here is, I want to tell something that we have extended the time of our classes to 45 minutes to 60 minutes. In case you're not aware of this, we will be doing morning class English and Prabhupada Leelamrit for 45 to 60 minutes every day. So, yes. He who is transcendently situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires anything. He is equally disposed to all the living entities, and in that state he achieves pure devotional service unto me. So let's just check this. See, you will observe this thing that as you are practicing your spiritual devotional services, you will observe that gradually that lamenting thing, even if I talk about myself, I used to lament a lot for unnecessary things. And there is no benefit of lamenting on things because things are not in our control. We are not the controller. But then also, if we keep on lamenting on things, then we are actually wasting our time. So, are you able to connect with this, relate with this, that this lamenting thing is gradually minimizing from our lives? We are becoming more aware, more conscious that lamentation will not give us anything. We will not get anything if we will lament for things. Instead, we should just let go because that is actually wasting our time. Nor desires. Now you can relate with this also that when we were not Krishna conscious, we had so many desires. I can really relate with all these things. I was so much into, investing on all my time, energy, money in fulfilling unnecessary material desires. So, see, if you are someone who is able to relate with these things, then you're actually progressing in your spiritual life with a great speed. It is really not easy thing to, to get detached from all these things that we are not lamenting unnecessary on things. We are not fulfilling our unnecessary desires. It is really not a small thing. You just see people who are not Krishna conscious, who are so much engrossed in materialistic things. They are into serving their, fulfilling their unnecessary desires like anything. They are just crazy after fulfilling their desires. And they are not understanding that these desires are not satisfying me. Instead, these desires are burning my heart. These desires are burning my heart. And they can never understand this thing also until they will not hear scriptures, till they will not chant. They can never understand this thing by their own. We didn't understood these things by our own. We started chanting, then we started hearing, started taking knowledge, then we started understanding that, yeah, this is true. So everything is practical. He is equally disposed to all the living entities. Now, disposed means, okay. So, see that any person, this you can also relate with this, that as we are practicing our devotional services, We are becoming more and more aware, more and more conscious about other living beings also, not only human beings, that yeah, they are also fragmental part of Krishna. So he is equally disposed to all the living entities, and this is not small thing again. This is really not a small thing. That you have same compassion in your heart for all the living entities. So this is the potency of Krishna consciousness. That any person who is sincerely practicing his devotional services, chanting nicely, hearing consistently, then he will definitely be able to relate with these things. We are actually receiving these things from Krishna. It is a great mercy of Krishna. And in that state, he achieves pure devotional service unto me. So it's just a matter of time. In near future, we will be attaining, we will be achieving, basically receiving pure devotional service unto Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One immediately becomes jolly, prasannatma, when he comes to understand I am spirit soul, I am Brahman. And when any person will understand this thing, understanding means he is understanding. So he will definitely not waste his time in unnecessary materialistic things. I'm not this matter. If I am not this matter, then how can this matter can satisfy me? Very beautiful point Srila Prabhupada tells that you will see we always get shelter from a person. We always seek shelter from a person and not from the matter. Can you relate with this? Are you getting this thing actually? That we always seek for a shelter from a person. That should be a person, that have to be a person and not the matter. Can you take shelter of matter? He can never reciprocate with you. He will not speak anything. He will not respond. How can you take shelter of a matter? The sign of this joy is that one no longer feels hankering and lamentation. See, I have observed this thing many times that it's not like um, these things happens with me sometimes, but the moment such emotions, when I feel such emotions, heavy emotions, so immediately you know, I just become aware that what is the reason of my heaviness? Why am I feeling heavy? And then I come to know, oh, because whatever that particular subject is or was, it is not related with Krishna. And that's why I'm feeling such heavy emotions. So it's just the matter of becoming aware, little aware. Next time, when you experience some heavy emotions, you feel some heaviness in your heart, just become aware. Why am I becoming heavy? And you will come to know that there was no relationship of Krishna with that particular subject or topic. And when you come to know this, you just let go that topic because it is actually wasting our time. Within this world, everyone is subject to lamentation for that which is lost and hankering for that which must be gained. So, yesterday also in Gita class, one devotee asked one question from Prabhuji. We will then stop our class. Let me just discuss this point. So he asked, That if we have given our money, like some money to someone, and now he is not repaying that money back to us, and he's just he's just ignoring, and he's not understanding that he will have to suffer for that if he's not repaying that money back. So Prabhuji explained this thing, that whatever is there in our uh, fortune, it will come to us. And whatever is not there in our fortune, it will definitely go from us. So we really don't have to worry about all these things. Prabhuji also gave one more example, that once he gave his laptop to someone so that he may repair it. But later he just ate that laptop. Ate means that he said, "Oh, you gave me laptop. I don't remember it." So later Prabhuji was trying to understand him, that you are not doing good. You are taking property of devotees. We use those things for the service of Lord. And if you're doing like this, you're not doing good. So he was not understanding this. He was just remain stubborn that no, I don't have your laptop. I don't remember when you gave me your laptop. So then Prabhuji just, he just he said we should let go of such things. Always remember this thing, that if any mishappening is happening with us, so that is the outcome of our deeds which we did in our past life. Now we don't have the report of our past life, otherwise we would know that how bad things we did in our past life. What to say of past life? In this life only, we did so many bad things in our past. Is it not? So just always remember that nothing is beyond the control of Krishna. Krishna knows everything. And especially in devotees' life, whatever happens, it is because of the plan. It is the reason behind that is plan of Krishna. So yes. Within this world, everyone is subject to lamentation for that which is lost and hankering for that which must be gained. But real gain is to understand oneself and to know one's own identity. All right, now we will be continuing our topic in our next class if Krishna is willing. 15.40 Vaishwanar Agni. Yes, that digestion part. Very amazing. Means you are hearing Prabhuji's lecture? I don't know, you might have read it before. I know you read Bhagavad Gita. All right, we will stop here now. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.